Welcome to the Global War Watch Network. Today, we're looking at something that could seriously shake up the economics of modern warfare, and you're going to want to see this. For a long time now, hypersonic weapons have been this, ultimate, high-tech, super high-cost asset. But what if I told you that you could get that same incredible speed for the price of a luxury car instead of, say, a skyscraper? Well, that's the promise behind a brand new missile called Blackbeard, and believe me, it is turning a lot of heads. Okay, so to really get why Blackbeard is such a massive deal, we first have to talk about the big problem with hypersonic weapons as they exist today. They are unbelievably powerful, but they're also just astronomically expensive. And hey, just a quick refresher for everyone, we're talking about weapons that are ripping through the air at more than 5 times the speed of sound. Now, it's not just the speed, it's the fact that they can maneuver. That combination, it makes them a nightmare for any current defensive system to try and intercept. They're just incredibly hard to stop. And this right here, this chart just lays out the whole dilemma perfectly. Just look at these numbers. On one side, you've got your traditional systems, things like the Army's LRHW, costing $15 million or even more per shot. And on the other side, Blackbeard, coming in at a projected cost of around $300,000 to $500,000. I mean, we're not talking about a small discount here. This is a complete rewrite of the entire cost equation. So the big question is, how on earth is this even possible? Well, the answer comes from a pretty nimble startup that's basically challenging the whole defense industry. Let's get into what makes Blackbeard tick. The company making all this noise is called Castellion Corporation. And no, they're not one of the old-school defense giants. You got to think of them more like a Silicon Valley tech company. They've got that startup mindset. They're all about moving fast, building efficiently, and being aggressive on cost, which is a big change for this industry. Now, here's what's so wild. You'd think for that low price, you'd be getting a watered-down version, right? Well, take a look at the specs. We're still talking blistering speeds of Mach 6 or 7, maybe even more, a really solid range of about 800 kilometers. This thing isn't some cheap knockoff. It's a genuinely capable hypersonic weapon that packs a serious punch. And this is where it gets really clever. Adaptability. Castellion is building this thing to work with the gear the military already owns. So for the Army, you're looking at popping it onto existing HIMARS and MLRS launchers. But for the Navy, and this is a huge deal, they're aiming for an air-launched version. Imagine firing these from Super Hornets, F-35s, or even a P-8 Poseidon patrol plane. So this all begs the question, right? What's the secret sauce? How did this startup crack the code on cost when so many others have struggled? Let's break down their formula. It really boils down to a 3-part plan. First, they went with a much simpler but still really smart design. Second, they're using modern manufacturing techniques, pulling ideas from the commercial sector. And third, like we just said, making sure it plugs and plays with launchers already out there in the field. Okay, so on the design side, here's the key. Instead of using a super complex, incredibly expensive scramjet engine, Blackbeard uses a boost glide system. Basically, a big, solid rocket motor shoots it up to speed and altitude, and then it just glides to the target. It's a proven, reliable, and way, way cheaper way to get the job done. And on a factory floor, this is not your granddad's assembly line. Castellion is using automated systems, 3D printed components to go faster, and modular designs. Because they're venture-backed, they can also innovate and change things much more quickly, skipping a lot of the red tape that drives up costs in traditional programs. All right, so let's tie this all together. We've got a cheap, fast, capable missile. But what does that actually mean on the battlefield? Because this isn't just about cool engineering. This has massive strategic implications. This quote right here from the source material absolutely nails it. This is the whole point. It's about changing the very idea of what a hypersonic weapon is. It stops being this rare silver bullet you keep locked away and becomes a tool that tactical commanders can actually plan to use. And why does that matter so much? Well, think about it. When you can afford to fire, say, 20 missiles for the price of one of the old ones, you unlock entirely new tactics. Suddenly, saturation attacks become a real option. You just fire so many fast-moving weapons at once that you completely overwhelm an enemy's ability to defend itself. And if you think this is some far-off, futuristic concept, think again. This timeline is moving fast. Integration contracts were awarded in late 2025. They're planning live fire tests for 2026. And if things go well, we could see the first production models rolling out as early as 2027. This is happening right now. Especially for the U.S. Navy, this could be a profound shift. An affordable, air-launched hypersonic gives a carrier strike group a flexible, powerful strike option it just doesn't have right now. It's a serious answer to some of the advanced defenses we're seeing deployed in really critical areas, like the Indo-Pacific. Let me just say that again, because it's the whole story. We're talking about the ability to buy more than a dozen, maybe even dozens of Blackbeard missiles for the price of a single legacy one. That kind of volume, that kind of mass, it changes absolutely everything. And so I'll leave you with this question to think about. For most of history, the most powerful military tech belonged to whoever had the deepest pockets. But what happens when that kind of game-changing technology suddenly becomes affordable? How does that shift the balance of power around the world? All right, that's what we have for you today. Thanks so much for your time and for joining us. If you found this breakdown interesting, do us a favor and hit those like and subscribe buttons. And maybe share it with someone who'd also find it cool. But now we want to hear from you. Does making hypersonics affordable completely change the game? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And make sure you join our community over on social media. All the links for that are right there in the description. We'll see you next time.